The illegal, idiotic, and unjustifiable war Donald Trump launched on Iran, of course, has us distracted from many other idiotic stories in his White House, and that's kind of the point. But one we are being reminded of today is his trade war. Yes, the trade war costing us billions of dollars. But Donald Trump doesn't really seem to care until today. Now he does, because Mark Carney just humiliated him in a brutal takedown that led to one of the craziest Truth Social posts, and I don't say that lightly, that we have seen in a long time. We are going to get into it all, but of course, we have to start with the lie that Donald Trump told before this news came out, and it's when he was talking about his deals that are just on the way right here.
Yeah, Mr. President, you have a deadline coming up on trade in 2 weeks. Which countries, if any, on trade, on tariffs, yeah. Sir, which countries, if any, are close to agreements with the administration?
Well, that's an interesting question. We've made a deal with China. We've made a deal with probably 4 or 5 different countries. With the UK, it was a great deal for both. And we're in the process of making some others. But ultimately, in fact, Scott is here. And Howard Lutnick, these two guys have been doing an incredible job, and the people that work with them have been doing an incredible job. But, you know, we have 200 countries, you could say 200 countries plus. We can't do that. So at a certain point over the next week and a half or so, or maybe before, we're going to send out a letter. We talked to many of the countries, and we're just going to tell them what they have to pay to do business in the United States. And it's going to go very quickly.
Oh yes, everybody is clamoring for a deal. Everyone wants to make a deal. They're knocking down the door. That's the reason that Donald Trump announced deals were going to start happening in April, and it's been months. It's been months now, Donald, and we haven't seen a single deal. But what a surprise. The art of the deal was actually just the art of lying to your idiotic base. But someone who has been consistently telling the truth this entire time, of course, has been Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney, who recently had a couple clips that suggested this big news was coming, and I want to take a look at those before we get to Trump's post.
Canada will lead. You want to help lead, form new coalitions. You've said, in fact, if the United States no longer wants to lead, Canada will. Try to build a coalition of like-minded nations with like-minded values, etc., and who believe in international cooperation. What does that look like? And is that something that will trigger President Trump into more anger? He's already got these tariffs, and he's already said, if you guys essentially try to gang up on me, you'll have to pay for it even more dearly.
I think we have to look at this in the way we would like to lead, the way European Union would like to lead, a number of Asian countries as well, is in a positive respect. If the U.S. is pulling back from multilateralism, as it is with respect to trade, these are effectively, U.S. trade policy is now bilateral. If the U.S. is pulling back, there are others of us who do believe in multilateralism. So, as you know, literally I'm coming here in the last 12 hours ago, I was in Brussels agreeing at the Canada-EU summit, agreeing a very comprehensive partnership and a process to have an ever closer economic, defense, and security partnership between Canada and the EU. That is an example of two jurisdictions, in the case of the EU, that believe in multilateralism, believe in the rule of law, believe in fair and open trade, believe in defense cooperation. So that's an example of leadership, if you will, that's positive. It's not it's a reaction, if you will, to what's happening in the United States. But it's not a reaction against the United States. It's for something, not against.
But President Trump tends to be A, transactional, and B, very personal. And sometimes he thinks, or maybe you know differently. Apparently, they say that you're the Trump whisperer of the leaders.
I'm not
and
sure
that you're on texting, relations with him, and you're constantly talking. So is he still saying he wants to annex Canada?
He's not. He's not. He admires Canada, I think it's fair to say, and maybe for a period of time coveted Canada. But
you've put that to bed.
Well, look, we're two sovereign nations who are discussing the future of our trade relationships, our defense partnership.
Carney truly is the Trump whisperer, and he has made it very clear that he will not be beholden to dictator Donald. And of course, that's driven Donald Trump crazy. He shut him up and shut him down in their White House meeting when he said that Canada is not for sale. We saw him interrupt Trump, of course, at that press conference that they held together at the G7. And now, oh man, Mark Carney just raised the stakes, and Donald Trump is furious, and we can see that in this Truth Social meltdown right here. Trump wrote on Truth Social, "We have just been informed that Canada, a very difficult country to trade with, including the fact that they have charged our farmers as much as 400% tariffs for years on dairy products, has just announced that they are putting a digital service tax on our American technology companies, which is a direct and blatant attack on our country. They are obviously copying the European Union, which has done the same thing and is currently under discussion with us also. Based on these egregious attacks, we are hereby terminating all discussions on trade with Canada effective immediately. We will let Canada know the tariffs that they will be paying to do business with the United States of America within the next 7-day period." I'm surprised he didn't say 2 weeks. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Mark Carney knows exactly what he is doing. He's showing Trump who the big dog is, and he is not going to say, "Oh, Mr. Trump, oh, we'd love if you'd get rid of those tariffs." No, he's going to fight back because he's the Trump whisperer. He knows that you do not let up to a bully, that you bully back. And that is also what we are seeing out of someone who you know I will not stop talking about on this show because he deserves all the attention he's getting right now, showing Democrats how to fight back against Donald Trump and how to message an aspirational vision for this country. You know who I'm talking about. It's our good friend Zohran Mamdani, and I want to take a listen to what he's been saying recently in a great interview.
Back with Zohran Mamdani, who is poised to win the Democratic primary for New York City over Andrew Cuomo for New York City mayor. Before we continue the conversation, I just want to play, because that's what this is, play more of Mamdani telling his story.
So to quote the words of a famous New Yorker, allow me to reintroduce myself. I was born in Kampala, Uganda, in East Africa. I was given my middle name Kwame by my father, who named me after the first prime minister of Ghana.
I moved to this city when I was 7. This is the city I fell in love with, the city where I got my citizenship.
He's been in the New York Assembly for 4 years, and before that, he was an aspiring rapper under the name Mr. Cardamom. Listen.
Down for you. Around for you. Make a sign for you. Give a crime to you.
Once you do it, it's out there. It never comes back. It's there.
Didn't think it was going to be on CNN.
It's there, and there it is. So what do you say to people who look at your background and they wonder? They say, okay, rising star you may be, but this is the largest city in America, $112 billion budget, 8 million people, and a hell of a lot of problems. And they say, okay, whatever the future may be, you're not ready now.
I would say that a campaign offers a glimpse of what an administration would look like. And we built a campaign the likes of which the city has not seen in a long time. We started with 2 full-time employees and now are managing 50,000 volunteers. At the beginning of this race, there were questions of whether we'd get 50,000 votes. And yet we had 50,000
volunteers.
50,000 volunteers who knocked on 1.5 million doors, made 2.1 million phone calls. And ultimately, it's a story of not only being able to inspire people, but absorb that inspiration and build an organization. And I think that's also the story of what it means to run a city, that you are ultimately responsible, but you're also determined by hiring the best and the brightest. And that's what I will be doing in City Hall. I'll be hiring those that have a clear track record of excellence, of results that come from a wide variety of mayoral administrations, and finally bring public excellence back into the public sector.
All right, so you caught a lot of attention for confronting Tom Homan, Trump's border czar, about the deportation policies, which have a lot of impact here in New York. Here you are.
Do you believe in the First Amendment? Do you believe in the First Amendment, Tom Homan?
So that moment went viral. All right. Then after the primary, Homan was asked about your plan, which is on your website. You said that you would end the city's cooperation with ICE agents that has been going on under Mayor Adams. And he has spoken out. Here's what he said.
Good luck with that. Federal law trumps him every day, every hour of every minute. We're going to be in New York City. Game on. We're coming.
Game on. He's coming. What do you say?
That I'm going to be here to stand up and fight back. And unlike the current mayor, I'm not going to be working alongside the Trump administration to build the single largest deportation force in American history. I'm going to actually represent each and every New Yorker. And that includes immigrant New Yorkers. And that means standing up for the laws of this city, like our sanctuary city policies, which have kept New Yorkers safe for decades and were defended by Republicans and Democrats alike for years until we got this mayor who fearmongered about them so extensively.
Does that involve the NYPD?
It means that the NYPD would actually serve New Yorkers and not assist ICE in their operations. We recently saw ICE agents.
So they would not
arrest-
assist ICE.
Not assisting ICE, because ultimately their job is public safety. And I know officers who are signing up to take on serious crimes, not to be a part of the force that is arresting a pastor who's peacefully observing the arrest of a migrant at Federal Plaza.
All right, so a moment ago you talked about how you didn't know if you'd get 50,000 votes, and you ended up with 50,000 volunteers. They knocked on doors. There are many in the country who might look at that and say, okay, that makes me think of somebody else. Somebody else who took on I'm trying to think of the right word to use, but somebody who expected to win and therefore didn't campaign that hard and lost. And the person who did that was Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, right? Famously also here in New York. She endorsed you early. She helped you. She just spoke to Manu Raju, our Manu Raju, a few moments ago. She said the Democratic Party needs to pay attention to your success right now. Here's what she just told him.
We have a choice to listen to that message that people are sending us or not. This isn't just about Mr. Mamdani as an individual. This is about the message that the people of New York City are trying to send to our party.
So there's now talk, that your victory puts her in a whole new light, right? It puts her and Bernie Sanders, not that they were seen as fringe, but they were seen as a wing of the party. And that instead of being a wing, that becomes more of the center, and that you are part of that. Do you see it that way? And do you see those who say, look, your victory propels her to a presidential run in 2028?
She's been an inspiration, and it's been an honor to be represented by her as an assembly member in Astoria for many years. And I think about a senior who works at a child care center that I met in Sunnyside, Queens, who told me that I'm not a progressive, but I realized when I looked at Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Bernie Sanders, they were the only ones who were willing to fight for me. Yeah. And that's what so many New Yorkers and Americans understand, is that these are the two individuals who have been willing to take on this oligarchy and actually stand up for dignity for Americans.
Before you go, one last thing. Bill Ackman, I just mentioned him as right, he's the billionaire hedge fund manager, but he's not alone. There are a lot like him, whether it's Ken Griffin or CEOs of big banks. Would you meet with them?
I'll meet with anyone. I will meet with them, and I'll explain why I believe in the necessity of raising the top corporate tax rate. And I'd also tell Bill Ackman that I firmly disagree with his attempt to dismantle diversity, equity, and inclusion across the country, because it's not only against the morals of so many, it's also against the actual bottom line for so many businesses. And as a businessman, he should understand that.
This is what we need Democrats to do. To take notice of the people who are winning their fights with Donald Trump and making them very, very scared. Of course, Zoran is terrifying Trump, so much so that he can't even come up with a nickname for him. Mark Carney has consistently gotten Donald Trump to fold, and now he's making him freak out. You need to hit back all the time. Do not be afraid. Demonstrate the messaging capability that we should be able to have, and telling a story not just in opposition to this administration, but that is exciting, that is forward-looking, that is aspirational. We're going to do so on this show, and if you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button, leave a like on this video, and if you stuck around to the end, you can drop a blue heart in the comments. And until next time, I'll see you soon.